Hello and happy Friday! We made it through another week. Today in math, we're going to be doing lesson 11-6, and you will find that beginning on page 492. So let's get to work. Follow along, please, and then I'll give you your assignment at the end. Solving inequalities by multiplying or dividing. Some problems will require you to multiply or divide to solve an inequality. There are special rules for multiplying and dividing to solve an inequality. You can multiply or divide both sides of an inequality by the same positive number, and the statement will still be true. So we're on that table, the green topped table on page 492, and it says multiplication and division properties of inequality. So look at the example for the positive. 8 is greater than 6. I can multiply both sides by 2, 8 times 2 and 6 times 2, which gives me 16 is greater than 12. Or I can have negative 10 is less than or equal to 14, negative 10 divided by 2, and 14 divided by 2, and negative 5 is less than or equal to 7. Now, some things change when you deal with a negative number. So look at the right-hand side of that table now on page 492. For the negative, you can multiply or divide both sides of an inequality by the same negative number. But then you must reverse the direction of the inequality symbol in order for the statement to remain true. So this is one of those things you have to remember. Okay, if I multiply both sides of an inequality by a negative number, I have to change the direction of the symbol in the middle. If I divide by a negative number on both sides of the inequality, I have to change the direction of the symbol. So look here at the example. 3 is greater than or equal to negative 2. Now, if I multiply both sides by a negative 3, I have 3 times a negative 3. I have to switch the symbol, the direction of the sign in the middle, to less than or equal to negative 2 times negative 3. And that becomes negative 9 is less than or equal to 6. Look at the same thing for dividing by a negative number. You have negative 9 is less than 18, and you have negative 9 is greater than 18 when you divide both sides by negative 9. So negative 9 divided by negative 9, I flip the symbol, and 18 divided by negative 9 becomes 1 is greater than negative 2. Take a look at that middle section there. Notice that you reverse the direction of the inequality symbol when you multiply or divide both sides of an inequality by a negative number. If you do not, the resulting inequality will not be correct. They have the example there. They have 4 is less than 5. And then they multiply both sides of the inequality by negative 1. And then they have to flip the sign. Otherwise, it says negative 4 is less than negative 5, and that's not correct. So the sign, if you multiply by a negative, you have to change the direction of the sign. So it's true to say negative 4 is greater than negative 5. Today's lesson is 11-6. And we're going to start with page 494, and we're going to do numbers 1 through 7 together. Number 1, W over 8 is less than negative 4. I'm going to rewrite my problem, and I'm going to put my 4 into fraction form. W over 8 is less than negative 4 over 1. I want to get rid of this 8 on the top, on the bottom, and so that my W can be by itself. If I multiply by 8 over 1 on the left, I have to multiply by 8 over 1 on the right. Notice I'm multiplying by a positive, so the sign is going to stay the same. This is over here is W over 1, which is just W. Straight across, negative 4 times 8 is negative 32. 1 over 1 is 1. W is less than 32. Number 2, Z over negative 6 is greater than or equal to 7. I'm going to rewrite my problem. Excuse me. Z over negative 6 is greater than or equal to, what was I doing up here? I have made a disaster, people. Okay, good thing we rewrote the problem. There's another reason to kind of go through and rewrite the problem. It makes you double check. Z over negative 6 is greater than or equal to 7. So I'm going to just turn this into a fraction over here, and I need to isolate my Z. The negative 6 is in the way, so I'm going to multiply this whole thing by negative 6 over 1. If I multiply the left, I've got to multiply the right. Now notice I'm multiplying by a negative. This should be a huge tip-off for you, okay? Pay attention to that. So I'm going to have to switch the sign. These are canceling out. Z over 1 is just Z. Straight across, multiplying fractions, 7 times a negative 6 is a negative 42 over 1. Z is less than or equal to negative 42. Number 3. Negative 4 is less than P over negative 12. I'm going to rewrite it and check again. Negative 4 is less than P over negative 12. I want to get this P isolated. So in order to do that, I have to multiply both sides by negative 12 over 1. If I multiply the right by negative 12 over 1, I got to multiply the left by negative 12 over 1. I'm going to put this negative 4 over 1 just to make it easier and into a fraction. Notice, here's your big red flag. That tells you that the sign has to be switched. Okay? Negative 12 times negative 48, excuse me, negative 12 times 4 is positive 48, is greater than P over 1, which is 48, is greater than P. Okay, and if you want to write it with a variable first, it would be P is less than 48. Number 4. Solve, check each answer. 3m is greater than negative 15. So I'm going to rewrite it. 3m is greater than negative 15. I want to isolate m, so I'm going to divide by 3 on the left, divide by 3 on the right. I'm dividing by a positive, so I don't have to do anything with the sign. It stays the same direction. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. 1 times m is m. Negative 15 divided by 3 is negative 5. M has to be greater than negative 5. Okay, so if 3 times negative 5 is negative 15, in order for this to be true, m has to be bigger than negative 5, and it can't include it. So let's try it out. Let's say negative 4. 3 times negative 4 is greater than negative 15. Is that true? Yep, that's true. So it checks. Number 5. 11 is greater than negative 8y. So I want to solve for y. I've got to divide by a negative 8, and I have to divide by a negative 8. This should be a huge red flag because we are dividing or multiplying by a negative. So what happens to the sign? It has to be flipped. So y is greater than a negative 11 over 8. Or you could say a negative 1 3/8 would work also. And you can write it with the variable first. Either way will work. Number 6, 25C is less than or equal to 200. 25C is less than or equal to 200. I want to solve for C, so C is being multiplied by 25, so the inverse is divide by 25. If I divide the left, I got to divide the right. 25 divided by 25 is 1. 1 times C is less than or equal to 4. So C, in order for this to be correct, has to be less than or equal to 4. Except 200 divided by 25 is 8, Mrs. Lynn. See, I'm losing it not being in the room with you guys because you guys would catch that and correct it. C has to be less than or equal to 8 because 25 goes into 200 8 times. We know that because 25 goes into 100 4 times, and times 2 is 8. All right, I'm sure if we were in class, you guys would give me a hard time about that. Number 7. It cost Deirdre $212 to make candles. That was her cost. It's a mess. It cost Deirdre $212 to make candles. How many candles must she sell at $8 each in order to make a profit? So the question is, $8 M, or actually let's call it C for candles. How many candles at $8 is going to be greater than 212? Because she spent 212, those are her expenses. And so she's going to charge $8 each. Well, to find out how many candles, we're going to have to divide by 8 on both sides. 8 divided by 8 is 1. 1 times C is C. She has to sell more than 27 candles at $8 a piece. And 27 times 8 is $216. So that would be where she would begin making profits after she sold 27 candles. There you have it, people. All right, your assignment for today, I would like you to do page 494, numbers 8 through 21. All. And that will be due on Monday. Monday will be the 27th. So page 494, numbers 8 through 21 all, Monday. Have a great weekend. See you later. Bye-bye.